You're listening to Nothing Small About Business, where big thinking meets real world action. Ready to level up? Let's get into it.
Today's guest is the founder and creative director of Bubbly Creative, a boutique marketing agency that's driving growth and visibility for female-owned businesses in the health and wellness space. Cara Chatellier, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Sarah. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, I'm really excited to talk about all things marketing with you because I have lots of questions that I hope we can kind of dive into today.
Oh my gosh, I'm psyched.
Yeah,
Hit
so
me.
yeah, right? I mean, let's just go right into it. Before we jump into all things like SEO and social media and marketing trends, give me like a brief overview of what you and your company do.
Yeah, so Bubbly Creative, we started in 2020, February, which is just, I always like
Perfect
to
timing.
mention because it's like such crazy timing, but 6 years this February, which is so exciting. But we just started to niche down a little more to focus on female-owned health and wellness providers. So that's something that really hits close to home to me. It's something that I'm really passionate about. And doctors are amazing, but a lot of times they really struggle. You know, they're so smart and brilliant in what they do, but marketing just does not come easy to them or naturally. So it's where we can step in and really bridge that gap and help them find their ideal patients. So yeah, we offer kind of a full suite of digital marketing. We do website maintenance. I have developers, designers. We do social media, digital ads, whether that's on Google, Meta, what have you. We're even dipping our toe into Reddit, which is interesting. We can touch on that too. Yeah, so we basically offer everything digital to health and wellness brands owned by women.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like you said, a lot of the people that might be in the medical space might not have the creative brain or they don't have the capacity to worry about making sure they're the best, person for their patients while also worrying about SEO on their website. Very
Who's got
different
the
skill set.
time? Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Okay, let's first jump into social media. I would love to hear from what you're seeing, the trends, what's changing. Like, I feel like it's constantly evolving. I'm getting tired of seeing certain things. I would love to hear your take on what you're seeing in that market, where you see it going.
Totally. Yeah, I think people like last year, one of the things I was talking about a lot is like less produced content. So a lot of times like doctors really want to make sure they're super polished. And like last year was kind of like authenticity that's really going to hit. You know, people want to see the messiness. And I think we're leaning a bit more into the messiness of life. A bit like, I struggle too. Here's what I struggle. Like humanization is something we focus on a lot with doctors, especially and healthcare providers, because they lean so clinical sometimes, like so professional, like so science backed. And it's like, especially like some of our big clients are OBGYNs. And if you're, maybe going in for your first PAP, you're 18 or you're going to deliver a baby, you don't want to work with someone who's like so clinical. You want to work with someone who's a human who feels like, approachable. So like humanization for doctors, especially, is something that we're really leaning into.
Do they get nervous with that a little bit of like, I want to look very professional and buttoned up. I don't want to show that messy side.
It's tricky. Yeah, it's tricky. And it's sometimes like blood from a stone. Like a lot of times we're like, okay, we'll take what we can get. But it comes naturally to some and just not so naturally to others. But, you got to put out that one thing first and then it just gets easier. But I think also seeing people fatigued with social a little bit, fatigued with online, just in general. I think like post-COVID, AI, all of this, and I know like I definitely want to dive into this more, but people are just kind of sick of being online and they need that more like genuine connection.
I love that. I feel the same way as I'm going through these things, especially when you see people that are just copying what everything else has been done. Like, perfect example, even with this podcast, when I do some of the episodes, I'm like, everyone's doing those same talking head episodes. I'm like, how can I be different? Because I'm even getting sick of seeing them. And it's because so many people, you see that it's supposed to be done a certain way, or you see that businesses are having luck with being more educational.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
can totally see that.
You just have to try. Like, I went to a conference at the end of 2025, and it was like a panel of women, and they were just like, be weird. Just do weird stuff and see what happens. And, like try the weird thing. And like we're even seeing a lot, like LinkedIn. Oh my gosh. You want to talk about being fatigued. It's like, okay, like, can I see one post that like a human wrote? Because everything's AI, but like people now are like injecting typos into things to make them
Oh,
seem,
funny.
yeah, which is like wild. But
Wow, what a 180.
I know, but I think like people are talking about like, yeah, just do the weird thing, try something different, just like whatever comes to you. And like maybe someone's done it before, but just try weird stuff, see what happens.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like you almost feel like you need to like light your hair on fire to get past the first 2 seconds so they listen to your message. It's like, my God,
Exactly.
what do we need to do here?
Exactly. I know. I know.
So when you're working with people, are you implementing different strategies based on the platform? So like Instagram strategy might be different than the LinkedIn strategy.
Definitely. Yeah. And the thing about LinkedIn is like, company pages are fine. Like it's good to have a little bit of a presence there, but like individual profiles are really what gets attention. So especially if it's someone who's like a B2B, like they're trying to sell to other business owners, they need to really like speak to those individuals from their business profiles. But yeah, Instagram's way different. You can have more fun on there. And Facebook, um it really depends on the demographic, right? So like if we have a client who's trying to reach people in their 50s and 60s, which we do. We have a dental client who's like really wants to focus on high value restorations. So like people in their 30s, 40s aren't really getting high value restorations because they still have good teeth. But once you get in your 50s, 60s, 70s, that's when you need kind of full mouth restoration. So we do a lot on Facebook, and we've seen a lot
Oh,
of benefit there. And the videos are more long form, and they like kind of slower. And
interesting.
yeah, a little bit like you're almost like, this is feels a little like for me, I'm like, oh, this is lame. But like
Right. Next.
people love, yeah, people love it. Like it's like that's
Yeah.
exactly our demographic, and
I
it's
guess it's
working
like
so well.
know your demographic really well, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
And like they're not on Instagram, really. I mean, some of them are to see their kids, but our grandkids.
that's so true. That my grandma joined Instagram just so she wasn't missing out on some of the content.
Yeah, exactly. My dad was on Facebook. Oh my God. This was like 5 years ago, but he's like, your friend sent me something. I'm like, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. It's just that's just how Facebook works.
It's the
It's the
best.
feed. I'm like, oh
It's
brother.
so good. The education piece there is so good.
Exactly.
Okay, you touched on something that I think is really important, and I'm seeing it in my own stuff. So you said with these businesses, it's really important to have the personal or the human, not just the business. And I know I have 2 Instagram accounts for this podcast. I've got not specifically the podcast, but I've got my Vine and Press page, which is more of like my personality page, we'll call it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the Nothing Small About Business Instagram page. There is a big difference when I post on one versus the other as far as engagement goes, because there's a human behind one and behind the podcast one, it's different. And I didn't
Mm-hmm.
realize that until I started doing it. Can you speak on a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, right now, I think with AI and with like the influx of AI content that feel like we're just what AI slop is what I've heard it called. We're starting to feel like very turned off from that content, and it does, it's not just social, it's everywhere. So like I'm sure, you're a business owner. How many emails would you say you get from like that are so clearly AI, so clear, like talking, yeah,
99%.
talking about lead gen. They're like, hey, Kara, do you want to 6x your business in 24 hours? I'm like, oh my God.
The amount I've got of like, we can blow up your podcast. I'm like, someone else sent me that exact same template 5 minutes ago.
Exactly. The one that drives me so nuts is a quick question, Kara. I'm like, Oh my
Delete.
God. And someone once sent me one that was like, "Hey, first name, we really want to improve your business. We're so good at this AI lead gen." And I sent it to them. It's like, think you need to work on your templates.
At least you gave him some constructive feedback.
Just because I was like so mad. And sometimes I write a reply and I'm like, so angry, and then I don't send it because I'm just like, why do you care? It's like they're sending it that anyway. So we're
That's
all
funny.
so fatigued with it. So I think like having like being a person, and it was like so funny because I think you look back at like social like when Instagram came out, it's 2013. I'm pretty sure it was 2013 when Instagram came out. Um, it was like grainy photos, and then reels came out, and then it was like kind of more polished stuff like influencer lifestyle, which still plays, but I think like you want to see like, okay, this is an actual human, they're flawed, they're like, we're trying to like find connection in any way possible because we're so disconnected in so many ways. So like if there is a real person, like I know whenever I like talk to my audience, which I haven't done in a really long time and I need to do. Um
Note to everybody,
yeah.
get on that.
Ooh. Engagement just spikes, like people just love seeing a real person, the person behind the brand and knowing who they are. And I think just we're leaning that way in so many different facets of business. Like I have clients that still are B2B, and I mean, emails just aren't working because of what we just mentioned. Like everyone's sending those AI emails, everyone's sending cold emails. I mean, the return rate, even I did talk to one of the AI email people and they were like, yeah, our rate is 1% or like 0.1. It was like crazy. So they send out like thousands and
Barely
thousands
a
and thousands.
blip.
Yeah. And they're like, we'll send out like 5,000 emails a day and we might get like 2 positive replies. Like, like, how detrimental
Wow.
is that to your brand too? So, like, people are leaning so much more into in-person events, being with people, meeting people, like actually meeting people is going to be like, I'm just seeing so much movement in that direction because of
That's
AI, because
yeah,
of, yeah.
that's something I really want to jump into because these in-person events, I think they cover a couple of things. They're providing connection. It's a
Mm-hmm.
great way to meet people that are in a similar field. You know what event you're going to, you know the type of people you're going to meet there. So what have you been seeing a big shift with brands putting on these in-person events, and are they partnering with other brands, or what are you seeing in that field?
Yeah, going to in-person events, like hosting booths, doing talks, speaking at events. Even our like B2B clients are having like in-person workshops. And they have a Zoom option as well, which like people are still signing up for, but we're seeing the in-person ones really blow it out of the water.
Awesome. And what are some tips? Is there anything you can think of that businesses can do for these in person to really make sure they're getting the most out of it? So, for example, I was just at an event in New York. And so
Hmm.
for me, it was really important to try to see who the really good speakers were so that I could see about getting them on the podcast. Like, are there different touch points or things that people can do in these in person events to make them the most beneficial?
Definitely. I think absolutely what you did is hugely like helpful, like looking at the speaker page and like the agenda and saying like, okay, let me target these people. Sometimes you're able to get a list of attendees, and that is incredible because you can say like, okay, I want to target these people and make sure I talk to them and like kind of set up a list of goals for yourself. Like, I want to talk to 5 people in this industry. I want to come out with 6 follow-up calls. I need this many. I mean, some people still do business cards, I guess. So you could do like, I want this many business cards, but setting goals for yourself ahead of time and, kind of scouring LinkedIn. Sometimes people post that they're going to a certain event too, like searching for the event, searching for the event hashtag, seeing if any of that comes up. Um, but I think,
Yeah, and maybe like you just said with LinkedIn, if you know a speaker is going to be there, like do some research, have a topic that is going to be natural. Say like, "Hey, I just saw you posted on this," or just saw you spoke at this event," to have like a commonality that you actually know something about them.
Totally. And I think like you need to do the work ahead of time and then the work after the fact. Follow up with those people, add them on LinkedIn, try to get a virtual coffee, if not a real coffee if they're close by. So like having a game plan ahead of time, go to the event, be super focused on what you want to accomplish, and then after the fact, make sure that you're reaching out to them.
That's key because it's really easy to sign up for these events and go and then don't feel like you really got that much out of it afterwards.
Exactly. And I think one of the things that has been really helpful is having someone on your team who can generate like a list of events that you want to focus on. And then so you can be more intentional with what events you're going to. Because sometimes you'll go to an event and you'll be like, okay, this wasn't great. But you need to at least try to get one or two things out of it so you can say it's worth the investment at least.
Right. The time alone and the mental load of it. You need to make sure what you're
Exactly.
actually committing to is going to be beneficial and moving you in the direction you want to go in.
Yeah, so like being strategic about which events, being strategic about how you approach the events, and being strategic about how you handle the aftermath as well.
Yeah, that's super important. Okay, I want to switch gears a little bit. This is a
Yeah.
topic I don't know much about, but let's talk about SEO and
Mm-hmm.
how SEO is now transitioning into all these other things that we need to worry about aside from SEO. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. So SEO and now, which this is like very like old McDonald, AIO. Like every time like
EIO, AIO, what do we got?
yeah, AIO, AIO. But like a lot of people now, and I'm not one of these people, but everyone uses ChatGPT as like a search engine. Um,
I'm starting to be on board with that, if I'm being
okay.
honest. Yeah.
I don't, but one of the things that I have used ChatGPT for, and people use a lot of others, Gemini, Claude. I'm still a ChatGPT girly, but I'll ask, take a look at my website. Like, would you recommend Bubbly Creative to like insert ideal customer here? And they'll tell you like, um, I'm on the fence because like you need X, Y, and Z or da da da. And I've done that for all my clients. And it's really interesting to see what ChatGPT comes up with because you can optimize for what ChatGPT is searching for when your
Mm-hmm.
ideal customer looks. So I think I on my team I have an SEO expert. So like I know a good amount enough to like talk to my clients about it, but like when it comes to the nitty-gritty, it's like her name's Claire. She's amazing and I'm like that's the thing with me for SEO. Same thing with digital ads. You need a technician. So, like, someone like me comes in, I can tell you the basics of SEO. I can help you with, the metadata, your photo titles, your page titles, like the page structure and like blog topics, things like that. But I would always want to bounce it off of an SEO expert. If you have someone that comes in like a marketing generalist, let's say you hire one person on your team and they're like a marketing generalist and they're like, I can do SEO, I can do all this stuff myself, red flag. Because
Run.
SEO itself is a job. Like that's a full-time job.
As I'm learning a little more about this, we have an optometry practice, and on our website, I had the doctors start writing blogs. Well,
Hmm.
I was putting the blogs in a PDF or JPEG format because I wanted them to look pretty. Come to find out, none of that was hitting SEO.
No,
Zero.
yes, yes, yes. And
I'm
the
like, oh my God, this is why you don't do things that you don't know.
exactly. And like you need someone who's like, okay, they're like, Sarah, these look beautiful. However,
They're
no,
pointless.
yeah, I love the way they look. Thank you so much. But yeah, you need an expert who's like seek out experts in SEO. Generalists, like I'm kind of a marketing generalist because I run a team with experts who can supplement my
Right.
knowledge. Like but the thing is like basic SEO, standard SEO, like preaching to the search engines is still incredibly important. People are still going to be using Google en masse. Like we don't want to get away from that. It's evolving. Um, it's cracking down a lot on AI content, which is great
Good.
because there's a lot of
Yeah.
slop out there. Like people are just like I just talked to this guy the other day. He works with a law office And he was telling me like he pays someone in the Philippines like $100 a month to create 3 blogs a month. And he's like, sometimes they're kind of like iffy, like English isn't their first language, so some of the content isn't great. I'm like, okay, are you seeing benefits from this? And it's like, no, because mostly that's going to hurt you. If you're getting flagged that you're putting out AI content, it's going to ruin your ability to show up in search. So you don't, that is, you're paying to ruin your search results. Like it's not worth it.
Oh gosh, I never even thought about that. And
Yeah,
also, like, if you're using AI to write all of your things, what happens when you're in person with these people and now you're showing up as someone completely different? And now you can't
exactly.
in person prove that you have the same level of thought provoking ideas that you did with your AI generated slap or email.
Slop. Yeah,
Slop. I'm going
exactly.
to start using that.
AI
Slop. I
slop.
like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So this is a quick tangent, but I listen to this podcast sometimes called Today Explained, and it's a Vox Media podcast. And they had an episode of called AI Slop. And it's like these two journalists who focus a lot on AI, and they showed them like 10 videos. So like 5 sets of 2. One was AI, one wasn't. And they had to
Okay.
identify which one. And they're like, they do this for their job, and they couldn't get 3 of them. They got them wrong.
Wow.
That's how good AI is becoming, which is scary.
That's terrifying.
Wicked scary, but
Wow. That is very terrifying.
I know. Anywho, so I would recommend, like, if you are a business, you want to get content up there because content is still important. Google looks at how often you're updating your website. So that's why blogs are really important, especially if you're generating information that's worthwhile. My recommendation for that would be if you can't, because small businesses were running a lot of time on like razor thin budgets. If you can't have human written content all the time, that's like have a writer that's writing for you, or you can't afford an SEO person, I would say reach out to an SEO expert, have them create some outlines for you of blogs and what they need to look like, and then have someone freelance write for you in those outlines and like create some topics based on what ChatGPT thinks about your industry and what your website needs. Like ask it directly, ask it to be brutally honest. I always
Right. Because a
ask
lot of
that.
times they're like, you're amazing. You're
You're
doing
so good
great.
at this. And I'm like, the my
False.
ego is
Help
like,
me.
thank you so much. But
You're my best friend.
I am great at this. Um, but like then I have a lot of my doctors do this because they're so busy and medical stuff you don't want to get wrong, as you know. So
Hmm.
I ask them for voice notes on these topics. So, you're running a
Oh,
business, you don't have
wow.
a lot of time, ask them for a voice note on specific topics, and then your writer can put them in the SEO templates. Then you put those on your site because blog content still does matter, and total AI content is not going to do you any favors.
Very well said.
Yeah. But we
And
still, yeah.
don't put it in a PDF or a JPEG
No,
because then it doesn't count.
do not do that. And I think like use AI as a tool, not a employee. That's definitely
Not
important.
the end game.
And ask what they would like, how you would show up, like how they want you to show up, and then speak to chat as or whatever your AI of choice is. But I think don't try to be your own SEO person. Seek out an expert if you can.
Yes. Very, very well said. All right. So speaking of experts, this is another area that I find very interesting and another one that I don't really know about and have personally spent money that has probably been very wasteful. And that is with
Mm,
digital ads.
yes, for sure. I mean, okay, so uh, this is another thing. Anytime someone is doing something that is just like throwing money into a pit and lighting it on fire, I'm like, no, don't do that. Because we're small business owners. We know what it's like trying to do everything. So you like try to cut corners, but you're like, okay, let me just do this and I'm going to make it work because I'm scrappy. And
And
it's
they
like,
make
okay,
it look like, oh, hey, promote this as an ad to reach 1,000 people. And you're like, okay.
sure. So let me touch on Facebook for a minute. So Facebook ads, one of the things that they do, Meta rather, they set it up so when you go in there, they have like these auto settings. And it's like, okay, I want to do like the automatic settings. And it says to you, it's like, these are highly recommended. Okay. So then you go in, and basically what those auto settings means is that your ad, despite the dimensions that it has, is going to show up on Facebook Marketplace. It's going to show up on Facebook News. Who knew that was a thing?
I
It's
had
going to
never heard of Facebook News.
Thank you. It's going to show up in all these places. It's going to show up as like a little bit on a video that no one's going to see. It could be related to anything.
Oh,
So like
wow.
you like turn off automatic placements, do manual placements, especially if it's like a reel. You only want it to show up in reels on Facebook, reels on Instagram, stories on Instagram, stories on Facebook, maybe in the feed, depending on this. Like, so you like, though, that's how Facebook says, like, these are highly recommended because to them, they think you want it to be seen by as many people as possible, when in reality, you want it to look good in the right places and be seen. Like, if I'm looking for a jacket on Facebook Marketplace, I don't want to see an ad for your event.
Right. You're
I'm
focused
on
on something completely
Marketplace.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, it's things like that drive me nuts because they're just like meant to, like, not, I don't want to say trick you, but that's how it feels a little bit.
Right. You're
Um,
almost wasting money in the wrong places versus having somebody in the right mindset that's ready to see your ad.
Which is like if they're scrolling through stories and like, oh, okay, actually this does like resonate with me. Or they're like scrolling through reels and it looks like a reel, then that is the right place for it. But so that drives me nuts about Meta ads. The other thing with like Google ads, the thing about Meta is you can have a return for a smaller investment, which is nice. Like if you do want to boost something, be strategic about your audience, yeah, you can get more eyes on it. And if your post is performing well, sure, that's like a one-off thing. It's not super strategic, but I get why people do it. With Google ads, it same thing as SEO. If someone has a job that is multiple things plus Google ads, uh-uh. You want someone who is like a pay-per-click expert who knows Google ads inside and out. Their job is Google ads because Google ads are so intricate. There are so many settings. There are so many ways that you can just keep throwing money into that pit, lighting it on fire. I had this client, I'm getting fired up.
Give it to me. What do you got? Let's hear it.
I had this new client and we just we're about to get started with Google Ads, and they were like, okay, here's our Google Ad account. And I looked at it and I was like, why can't I access any of the right things? And then I was like, oh my God, they've only been running smart campaigns. And a smart campaign is the automatic settings that when you go into Google Ads, they say, have you done this before? And, you can click like no, or it's something like that. And like, then they start you with a smart campaign that is just like all their preset settings, which again is like,
Oh, God.
and this is what this client has been doing for years from a marketing generalist who like does not know Google ads and was basically just pushing money towards branded search, which was like their name, which people were already searching for. I was like, no, because I didn't even recognize it.
So this wasn't even just like the intern at their own business being like, I'll try some ads. This is like how some people are selling their services as somebody that does digital ads.
Yeah. So, and
Wow.
I was like, no way. Because I've never, because there's like expert mode, and that's what every Google ad person uses. So I didn't even recognize it. And I was like, what is this? I was like, oh my God, it's not even on.
You're like, this is the Temu of Google ads. Like, what are you using?
What's happening? And yeah, so they were just burning money. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I was like, please pause everything right now. They were also running Yelp ads. I was like, Yelp? Who is
Oh,
she?
wow.
So
I love that too. It's like these businesses don't have to be spending more money, but they need to be spending smart money.
exactly. And I think you need to find someone you trust who like knows what they're doing. If someone is like, I can do everything myself. Like if I was pitching myself as like, I do Google ads, I do meta ads, I do SEO, like, no, you don't. There's no
Red flag.
way. Yes. If you have someone who's like, I have a good network, I have all these people who have this expertise, great. And,
That's a really good distinction.
because the like I have been on because typically like I work with vendors who like specialize in Google Ads. Someone on my team specializes in Google Ads because that's their job and that's super important because the intricacies I've been on calls with like Google as they're like going through the ads and like helping you improve, which if anyone's been on those calls, oh man, they will suck the life out of you. But there's so many nozzles you can turn on, turn off. There's so many ways you can burn through money and have it not impact your business whatsoever. So just be so careful.
That's a great tip for business owners because the way they make it look is super easy. Click this button and reach this many people. And so people can have
Exactly.
like a false sense of confidence that they're doing what anyone else is doing when they're running these ads.
Totally. And then I've also noticed like Wix and Weebly, I believe it was Wix. They have a button that's like publish Facebook ads through our system. And I'm like, oh my God, please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Right? It's a business for them. And they don't know your business and they're not using strategy. There's no strategy
Exactly.
behind it if they're not talking to you about it.
Exactly. Yeah. So those are the things that like scare me. I'm like, oh, please don't do that. Just because I
Oh
don't.
gosh. I'm going to go
Yeah.
make sure that we're not running any right now because I would be that person running it with the basic like, hey, here's your audience. And I'm like, great, here's $20. Let's see what we
Perfect.
get.
I mean, $20, fine. Do a one off, whatever. That's fine. But I'm saying, like, but like every dollar counts too.
Right. Okay. So can you explain when some people say I've seen this on Instagram and I don't know if they're just full of it or what, but they're like, we're really trying to get our ad spend up to, we spent $100,000 last month and we're trying to get it to 120. And in my head, I'm like, if you want it at 120, just spend 120. So can you explain, like, is there anything to when you put your budget towards something, does any of
Mhm.
it go for performance or do these places spend your full amount?
Wait, so they're trying to increase their ad spend? That seems like an easy thing to do,
There's
right?
one specific one. I'll send it to you on Instagram. I'm like, I don't get it. Like how just do it. If you want to increase it, you just increase it, right?
Right. Yeah. I think really is being like crystal clear on your goals, right? Because some people, if they're just going for awareness, that's such a different type of ad than if you're trying to go for like client acquisition. And you want to be focused on your cost per client acquisition and like what that is. And you don't want to increase that.
You actually want to get that lower.
Yeah, you want to try and lower that. And once you like know what keywords are working for you, um then that should be lower. It's just that's
That's
confusing
funny.
to
And
me.
that's
Yeah.
probably like some clickbait of Instagram that's like, oh, well, if you say this so confidently, it sounds like I know what I'm doing. You know?
They probably are like trying like funneling leads to a Google ad and they're like, "Hey, I want to increase my ad spend by 20K. Can I do that?" They're like,
And I'm like,
"Absolutely."
here's the link.
Yeah. Give me your credit card details. I would love to help.
Oh my God. So many people they prey upon. It's so
I know
sad.
it's awful. It's truly awful.
So true. Yeah, no, I think one thing you're hitting on is really like go for people that know what they're doing. And one thing that I've already taken from you that you don't even know this yet,
Mm.
once we started emailing, I saw your email signature line and I'm like, oh, duh, hers is very clickable. Like in your signature line, I can just go in and click the link that will take me directly to where you want me to go. My signature line was made in Canva. And while I have everything in there, it is not clickable. So guess what? No one is clicking on the Instagram link or the website or the podcast episode. So after seeing yours, that was eye-opening, and mine does not look nearly as good as yours. But I did go through and change it so that it's very easy for people to
Love
access.
it. I actually made mine on HubSpot. HubSpot free signature. I think let me just get
This
that
is a great tip for people. I'm writing this down.
right. Let me see
HubSpot.
HubSpot. So let me see the URL is hubspot.com email-signature-generator. And
Okay.
it kind of prompts you to have the branding in there, but you can remove the branding. You can add your photo, you can add all your links, you can add your logo. Yeah, it's awesome.
That's a game changer, honestly, because now when I'm emailing people, it is probably 1,000% more likely that they'll actually click on the things that I want them to.
Exactly.
They're not
Yeah,
going to go
it's
in and type
huge.
it.
Totally. And it looks nice and your picture's there. Again,
Mm-hmm.
talking about the humanization, having a picture and a signature, I think is especially if you're doing cold outreach, is so nice. People can
Yeah,
see
have a
that you're
face
a
to the name.
human, right? This is an
Right, and that you're
actual person.
professional.
Yeah, not an AI generated image. Ugh, gosh,
A
those drive
bot.
me a bot. Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so in addition to things like that, I love this HubSpot. I'm absolutely going to be going there today and making my signature look a little better. Um, Before we wrap up, though, is there anything else that you would tips, tricks you would give small business owners of things that they can do to do better marketing or anything in that realm?
Yeah, so I think better marketing, I'll touch on that in a minute. I think better business. I hired a virtual assistant last year, and that has been such a game changer for me because, we touched on events and stuff, and I've asked them to having a virtual assistant is someone that has a lower hourly rate. They're doing a lot of stuff virtually for you. You can assign them all these tasks. Mine is amazing. Her name's Erica. um I give her this task. Like, for example, I was like, can you compile a bunch of podcasts that I might be a good fit for?
I think
And
that's how
that is.
that we've connected, right?
It is.
Yes. I mean, it works.
Hey, it works. I was like, compile a bunch of podcasts. I'll write a pitch, or you write a pitch, I'll edit it, and then, start emailing these people. We're doing it right now to set up in-person meetings. I also I've had her compile a bunch of lists for me, which is just really helpful. Organization stuff, billing, all of these things that if you're running a company, it's such a time suck, so you can offload that. And I think that is a huge, huge help. And it doesn't need to be full time, it's like a part-time person. I think relinquishing some of that control and delegating, those are the type of
That
things that,
control is key.
oh
Was that
my
hard to
gosh,
do in the beginning to figure out what you
impossible.
wanted? And
Impossible. Yeah.
yeah,
I have 2 team members, and so I've been slowly relinquishing a lot of control over the past 6 years, but it's probably one of the most difficult things for me
it's
to
painful at
yeah.
first, but you will appreciate it when it's done.
You have to. You don't have a choice, right?
Right.
If you want to grow, if you want to get bigger, get stronger, you gotta. You can't do it all,
You really
unfortunately.
can. You don't want to be up at midnight scrolling, looking through podcasts to be like, which one's worth it and which one's not. Like, you don't have time for
Exactly.
that when you're running a business.
Exactly. And as far as making marketing better, this is a shameless plug, but I think as business owners, you're doing too much. You know it. You're doing the most. We're all doing the most. So anything you can hire an expert to do your marketing. And that's a
It will
pitch for
pay
an
for
agency.
itself.
Yeah, hire an agency like Bubbly Creative, for example. But I do
Right.
think it does. It just is a way for you to the amount of clients that have said to me oh my gosh, I'm just so glad I don't have to do this anymore. They
And it's probably a lot more effective in actually securing new patients and clients.
exactly,
So it
exactly,
pays for itself and some. So that is absolutely an area that if you're going to offload something, use an expert to do it.
100%.
I love that. Well, you've provided us with so much value today. I think there's probably 10 things that now I need to go back in our business and be like, we're doing this wrong. We're doing this wrong. Let's go get better signature lines.
Yes.
So I really, really appreciate you coming on the podcast and sharing all of this wealth of knowledge. You've been amazing. So thank you.
Oh my gosh, Sarah, I've had the best time. Like so happy to be here. And yeah, if anyone has any questions or they want to chat, don't hesitate to reach out. Just Cara@bubblycreative.com.
Perfect. And I'll put all this in the show notes as well so people can find you easily.
Yay, thank you.
Thanks for listening to Nothing Small About Business. Make sure you follow the show so you don't miss the value in upcoming episodes. Share this with someone who's growing and connect on socials for more.